First, this wasn't my idea. It is an issue born of titles and heir apparency and... Halam Shiral is having difficulty freeing trade routes formerly controlled by Duchess Florian. Had she been tried, her assets would be forfeit and considerable bureaucracy avoided. So they ask that we judge her.
There is worth and weight in every judgment, no matter how unusual.
That was the time allotted for rebuttal. Her crimes negated any claim to... Forgive me, there is an odor.
Strangely enough, something similar happened to an uncle of Emperor Leandra II. His trade routes were returned to the reigning monarch. Why don't we just follow suit?
A wise choice. Thank you for making it swiftly.
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
What's going on now?
I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine. Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
How can you and Liliana be candidates? You're not even priests.
It's not without precedent. Amar III was sister to the Emperor, and Galatea a commoner. Leliana and I were, at least, part of the Chantry hierarchy. It would be accepted.
If they'll pick non-priests, why am I not a candidate?
Because you're a man, first and foremost. If they name you a candidate, they may as well join the Tevinter Imperium. Truly, though, I imagine it's because they're frightened of you. A weight such as yours would break the Sunburst throne and tear the Chantry to pieces. I just don't know why they believe Leliana or I would be any better.
If you don't want it, then tell them so.
Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars, this cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
I'm surprised to hear you, of all people, say that.
Oh? Am I not the same woman who declared the Inquisition against the Chantry's wishes? In all my years as a Seeker, I did what I was told. My faith demanded it. But now my faith demands something else. That I see with better eyes.
If you're concerned, then make it better.
Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a Chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
You're not the only candidate. What about Liliana?
Liliana says she wishes to follow Justinia's legacy. But she and I remember a different person. Justinia knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Liliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think. And that would be chaos for us all.
What would you change about the Chantry?
The Circle of Magi has its place, but it needs reform. Let the mages govern themselves with our help. Let the Templars stand not as the jailers of mages, but as protectors of the innocent. We must be vigilant, but we must also be compassionate to all peoples of Thedas, human or no. That is what I would change.
Your determination is admirable.
Some men would call it an unattractive trait.
I'm not those men.
Truer words have not been spoken.
Who's using flattery now? I have influence, and I can use it to help the Chantry make up its mind.
I cannot ask you to do that.
You don't have to.
If you think that is the right thing to do, then thank you. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority. The sight of you warms the heart.
So, you're a candidate for Divine now.
So I am informed.
Is that something you actually want?
Why should what I want matter?
Why shouldn't it matter? Don't you have the right to be happy?
It is very simple. The Chantry needs to survive. To do that, it must change. I have never believed in asking another to do what you are unwilling to do yourself. So I look upon this as an opportunity. I owe it to myself and all of Thedas to seek the Sunburst throne.
I think you'd make an excellent choice.
Thank you. Let's hope the Chantry clerics agree.
Do you have any advice for me?
It seems that Corypheus searches for elven artifacts. That's hardly surprising. Tevinter power is based on what those vultures scavenged from the ancient elves. Whatever advantage he hopes to gain, we need to stop him at once.
I was hoping we could spend some time together.
As was I.
Have to make sure it's cleared after. Don't need squires losing feet.
Going well, I hope? No. Then I signed on. Just relaxing.
Just rumors.
Inquisitor?
What's the current mood?
Sprightly.
What's the word out there?
They're pouring in from the Dales. That's good.
I'm pleased to hear it.
You know I've got no problem with Orlesians, but Halam Sharal was a mess. At least under the Qun, you don't get everyone tripping on each other's dicks while the country goes to crap.
The politicking we saw at Halam Sharal might seem pointless, but it's the beating heart of the Empire. The winner of the game is the one who best builds alliances and controls what's discussed and what's decided.
So it rewards manipulation instead of rewarding the ability to get stuff done. I don't know. The Qun isn't perfect, but it doesn't care what any single person wants. Orlais is full of people who care about nothing else. Hey, that elven redhead who makes the buns in the kitchen.
See you later, Bull.
Nice talk.
Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter,
Your worship.
come to see. Can you come to see?
The nobles will lose them. Certainly. The bandits passed around shovel.
In our strength we can rely, and history will not repeat. Enchanters, the time has come to be alive in the circle of
Inquisitor.
Welcome back.
enchanter.
One for the Empress. For Gaspar. Brianna. The Duchess. And Coetus. Right in the dangle bag.
Well, remind me to stay on your good side.
Don't worry, you're sparkling compared to that lot. A cook here, a footman there. What's it matter, right? So long as there's a book for the throne. A pretty one, sure. But how many lives are worth one empress's arse? Ugh, that place. Should have just thrown in some bees and slammed the doors.
We decided the course of a nation. I think it was worthwhile.
Right, Orlais will never be the same. Except for everything they say and do. Ugh, you know the most important thing I got out of all of that mess? The one thing. Don't sleep with empresses. That's what that was all about. We patched their spat, Briala and the Celine. But without their breakup, none of it would have happened like that.
There was a lot more going on than a lover's spat.
Oh, sure.
There was.
Because of the hole in the sky, pfft, plenty of idiots around before, and there'll be plenty of idiots around after. Better save some arrows, yeah? Back, yeah? Always good. Again with your thoughts? Soulless. Var. And Cullen. I suppose if you want... I mean, what did their women look like? He's fun. I'm not saying nothing. She's a bitch.
Right. That's why. I didn't understand the Grand Ball. It would have been easier if they said what they wanted.
Orlesian nobles see politics as a great competition.
Yes, but none of them ever win.
So, Cole, have you been stealing bread and throwing it onto the...
You couldn't see the birds if I left it on the ground. All right.
So, Cole,
They were safer there. All right.
Training will continue when your duties allow. Have you seen otherwise?
Could be better.
Welcome.
Of course. Oh, my maker, you cannot imagine how many letters I've received about the fracas at Halam Shiral. Fortunately, you tied twice as many threads as cut, although it is yet bewildering at the center.
how's it going? Do we have what we need?
With SKYHOLD shining like a beacon? You name it, it's here or on the way. I've wrung out the slackers, given them what for. I think I like this job.
There are problems coming out of Halam Shiral?
There are always problems from Halam Shiral. We've lost a few contracts, but more than made up for it. Although, if a few commendations were given, it might retie some severed threads. I couldn't suggest how. That is better decided at your war table, and I'm not going near that thing.
As you were.
We are here for you, Inquisitor.
Once we were in our peace.
Could be better.
Lives assured. Once we were not afraid.
We'll make good use of it.
Thank you.
Something like that.
Once we
Something like that.
in our kingdom
Can't wait, what's on?
and pride. Once we ran
Something like that.
the fields with great stride.
We have the news.
Yes.
We hailed the fate of the
Anything we can do,
demon's
just ask.
flight. So
Good date.
far from our children, from our lives.
Thank you for your investment in my investigations, Inquisitor. I've learned something, I think. I don't know.
What have you learned? Did you find out about the Fade?
I got a scraping that was cleaned off you, and it's weird. And the other rift bits, they're weird. It's just weird. I said weird, right?
Answers, Dagna?
Lyrium and the Fade linked, but dwarves and Tranquil not linked. But they work Lyrium, so they are. Somehow. There's something there. I was face deep in a rune, and for a moment, I was tall. Really tall. And I thought all the thoughts.
You felt taller. How much taller?
Like mountain tall. Or I was the mountain. But I was moving. I felt dizzy. You know what I remembered? Watching a shaper had carved the wall of memory, except big. Isn't that weird? Maybe there were fumes.
So Tranquil and dwarves are linked to lyrium, but also not linked?
Like the lyrium needs to flow, but if you're part of it, it takes you with it. So you can't be part of it. That makes me sad. I'm not sure why. It seems like we should be part of it. Whatever it is. Or maybe we're the ones who make it happen. Whatever it is. You know what's frustrating? Answers that aren't answers. Ugh.
What do you mean when you say, thought all the thoughts?
I don't know. As if for a moment I was around all my people. And my thought was all of theirs.
Your thoughts with their thoughts?
No, my thought was all of our thoughts. Like, parts. Ugh, words are mush. Maybe that's what the stone feels like. Or we think it feels like. If we think it feels. Creepy.
Keep investigating and let me know what you find.
I tried to make it happen again, but it wouldn't. Then I had a headache. And cocoa and a lie down. I'll keep at it. It's weird. Oh, and I made a rune. It's weird too. Be careful with it. Something strange for you, Inquisitor. You're used to that by now, right?
I need to have a few words with my publisher. The first one will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something?
Can I ask?
You want to talk about...
That's the Stone Met, Inquisitor.
Do you have any insight into the stories these tiles are supposed to depict?
Tell you what, you finish one, and I'll write it up. Who better, right? A good dwarven perspective.
I knew then, and crossed my heart with shame.
There is a problem that needs your attention, Inquisitor.
For you are fire at the heart of the world. Blessed are the righteous, the lights in the shadow. In their blood, the Maker's will is...
'Tis a large fortress, Inquisitor. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased.
It sounds like you've heard of SKYHOLD before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Tara Salan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones, silent until your arrival.
I like this place. I've made it mine.
The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge at my disposal. This I swear to you.
I appreciate whatever help you can give us.
Some might think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed. 'Tis that he actually may. I hear the Grey Wardens are now banished from southern lands. Such a descent into infamy after their victory in the Fifth Blight. I wonder if they wish now that the war had spread further. They have until the next archdemon's rise to repair what damage they have done, if they are even able.
Now that you've seen the Inquisition up close, what are your impressions?
'Tis remarkable what you have built. I will give you that. Soldiers are camped outside SKYHOLD in numbers that would give any nation pause. All this in precious little time, conjured from thin air through the power of fervor alone. I wonder if Corypheus suspected what he was enabling, just as I wonder what will become of all this once he is defeated.
We have to defeat him first. Then I'll worry about what's next.
Should that happen, the world will lie at your feet, more or less. Beware the heights you reach, Inquisitor. When this is done, many will be eager to knock you back down.
What work have you been doing to help us?
Currently, my efforts are focused on determining what Corypheus is, and from where his power comes. The elven orb he carries is what draws my attention. I wonder if the power he used to tear open the Fade, in fact, came from the orb. Perhaps it is even the source of your anchor. If I learn of its origin, I may also learn what Corypheus now intends, as well as his weaknesses.
I could use your company for my excursions outside SKYHOLD.
I have spent my share of time wandering the wilderness in the company of others, Inquisitor. Thank you for the invitation, but for now I will restrict my efforts to researching the arcane.
Do you know anything about his dragon?
It has the appearance of an archdemon. Of that, I am certain. A true archdemon, however, is supposedly the corrupted form of an old god. Has Corypheus actually dug up one of the ancient prisons? If so, why has a new blight not begun? His dragon is something else, something connected to his blighted nature as well as his magic. Beyond that, I cannot say.
Is it even possible that Corypheus could succeed?
The Black City exists. Wherever one goes in the Fade, it is visible in the sky. The last time Corypheus and his cohort stormed its doors, they unleashed the Blight upon the world. This time, perhaps he might indeed gain untold power, becoming something unto a god. It is also possible he could unleash something far worse than the Blights. So yes, Corypheus could succeed in his goal. If not, his attempt alone could destroy the world.
Corypheus says I'm a rival. Does that mean...
Could you become a god? That depends. Are you prepared to use your anchor to enter the Black City?
If the anchor would let me do that, absolutely.
Then Corypheus is correct. You are a rival.
However you can help, it's appreciated.
Continue prodding at Corypheus, Inquisitor. Elicit a reaction, and we may yet learn from it.
What work have you been doing to help us?
Currently, my efforts are focused on determining what Corypheus is, and from where his power comes. The elven orb he carries is what draws my attention. I wonder if the power he used to tear open the Fade, in fact, came from the orb. Perhaps it is even the source of your anchor. If I learn of its origin, I may also learn what Corypheus now intends, as well as his weaknesses.
However you can help, it's appreciated.
Continue prodding at Corypheus, Inquisitor. Elicit a reaction, and we may yet learn from it.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah yes, whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kokari Wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some Chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus, we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight?
The Blight began in the Kokari Wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. She is the reason the Blight was defeated. We did not part on good terms. I regret a great deal, but that, most of all. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
I leave you to the garden.
As you like. I imagine your forces will be heading into the Arbor Wilds very soon, Inquisitor. Trust me when I say that wherever the Alluvian is hidden, it is worth any effort to prevent Corypheus from acquiring it. If I learn of its origin, I may also learn what Corypheus now intends. Thank you for the invitation. His dragon... So yes, Corypheus could succeed. I am doing what I can. If you have questions...
Your worship.
Many are those who rise
What
up
would you
against
like
me,
to know?
But my faith sustains me. I shall not fear
Your
the
soldiers...
Legion, should they set
More than
themselves
that,
against me.
I wanted to thank you. When you came to see me, if there's anything... This sounded much better in my head.
I trust you're feeling better?
Yes.
Is it always that bad?
The pain comes and goes. Sometimes I feel as if I'm back there. I should not have pushed myself so far that day.
I'm just glad you're all right.
I am. I've never told anyone what truly happened to me at Ferelden's Circle. I was... not myself after that. I was angry. For years, that anger blinded me. I'm not proud of the man that made me. Now I can put some distance between myself and everything that happened. It's a start.
You're a better person than you give yourself credit for.
I appreciate the thought, but I know who I am. Anyway, I meant to thank you, not trouble you further. You've enough to worry about. How are you holding up?
I'll feel better when we take down Corypheus.
As will I. He will not elude us forever.
I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
I didn't care for it myself.
I shouldn't be surprised. The Chantry can be the same. Their politics are less extravagant, but just as heated. The Empress rules a country. The Divine influences half a continent.
May I ask you something?
Of course.
The Inquisition won't last forever. What will you do when this is over?
To be honest, I hadn't given it much thought until recently. I'm not used to having so many possibilities.
Do you think Templars should cease to exist?
No. I may have chosen to leave that life, but I respect those who remain. Magic ungoverned could tear the world apart. It's doing so now. Templars are trained and able to confront such dangers.
What would you suggest?
Some call the Circle a prison that can only breed resentment. Perhaps opportunities to work outside the Circle. A mixed military service or healers' clinics with Templar support. And there must be a safer way for Templars to leave. Templars can lose their memories to lyrium. Some call it a gift, to forget the failed harrowings, the demons. Some atrocities haunt me still. But to lose what good I can recall, I nearly lost my mind once. It is no gift.
Do you think that could work? Would people accept it?
Mages would be watched, but could pursue interests outside the Circle. Neither freedom nor prison. I don't know.
You've mentioned siblings. With everything that's happening, do you know if they're all right?
I've received word from my eldest sister. She was always good at tracking me down. South Reach has experienced the same chaos as everywhere else. My family is fine. Pray they remain so.
Your sister tracked you down? You didn't know where you were?
I let her know I was in Haven. She assumed I survived. It's not the first time. I may have neglected to tell her when I was transferred to Kirkwall.
Why?
I wasn't in a good state. I wanted only to leave. I received an angry letter about my disappearance 2 years later. For all her reprimands, it was a relief to hear from someone who knew me before the Blight.
You still regret the man you became after leaving Ferelden?
After the Ferelden Circle, I thought all mages were like the ones there. Knight Commander Meredith's methods were harsh, but they kept people safe.
You've said Meredith was unstable.
She was my Knight Commander. I had no reason to distrust her. She wasn't wrong about the Blood Mages in Kirkwall. Meredith encouraged my anger towards the mages. There was only so far I would go, and she knew that too. I was her second in command. She kept decisions from me, those I would question. I believed she was serving the city. I never thought to question her, not until it was too late.
You can't control everything. You stood up to her in the end.
If I hadn't, would I be like her now? I wanted mages locked away as much as she did. I trusted they were treated reasonably well, but I should have done more. I should have looked into it. It's not yet enough. The Inquisition is my chance to atone. I will see it through.
That's all I wanted to know.
I'm sure you have other matters to attend. Yes?
Is there it?
Only that I'm never playing cards again. I don't know how Varric talked me into that. I suppose that's true. Of course, I'd wager our own recruits. I pray this won't be lost when they're...
What do you
Who do you mean? But I enjoy working. Cassandra, more importantly...
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shiral, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
I'm pleased you had a good time.
Political gambits, broken promises, half-truths. It is a palace full of motivation, and motivation is where great things happen. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally. And Briala as well, thanks to your efforts on her behalf.
I hope Briala is able to use her position to help your people.
How would helping Briala help... Oh, you mean elves? I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Nor should you. You're not defined by the shape of your ears. They're not your people.
No, they are not. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, I believe Briala is doing quite well on their behalf. She is an admirable woman.
She's done good work. Hopefully with our help, she can help them even more.
Yes. However much I identify, or fail to identify, with her people, Briala's efforts have been remarkable. She organized resistance against a powerful enemy, using only her wits and the resources at hand. That demands respect, especially in a world where most would look at her and only see a pair of pointed ears. My friend, perhaps you could ask Sarah. She has opinions. What do you wish to know? Much of it is more subtle. A legacy, it must have been beautiful. But as I said, they always succeed through power. Elvanan was the Empire, and Arlathan its greatest. They cling to memories of a better path. Some trade. Elvanan was the... Imagine beings... My friend, he will need to demonstrate...
The Empress has gifted us with a selection of rare books. I can't wait till they arrive.
A request has been made of you, Inquisitor. Here it is.
What is your evaluation of how we're doing?
I am able to pursue my duties with optimal efficiency.
Anything interesting?
A letter regarding a friend. I mentioned Alexis to you, didn't I? His son. I was trying to discover what became of him. Where he ended up.
And?
Nothing. Redcliffe is abandoned, and there's no trace of him. It's as if he never existed. I think the Venatori found out he was helping me. I think they killed him.
Are you all right?
He was ill, and thus on borrowed time anyhow.
It doesn't mean you can't regret his death.
I know. Felix used to sneak me treats from the kitchens when I was working late in his father's study. Don't get into trouble on my behalf, I tell him. I like trouble, he'd say. Tevinter could use more mages like him. Those who put the good of others above themselves.
Were the two of you...
Felix and I? What an odd question. No, there was nothing between us. He was just a fine young man. Better than I. Maybe if the world were a better place, he'd be here instead of me.
What was he doing in Redcliffe if he wasn't part of the Venatori?
He was there with his father. In fact, Felix was the reason I knew where the Venatori were. He'd planned to help if you came to Redcliffe, I understand. He had so much more than I to lose by helping. He should be alive, not I.
You make it sound like he was a better person than you.
What a mad thing to say. Few people are better than I. Very well, a better person, clearly, not nearly as handsome. Thankfully, Felix wasn't the only decent sort kicking around Thedas.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. Saving the day, reconciling lovers, mediating a civil war. So sugary, it's nauseating. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
That's something you actually miss?
Who wouldn't? All the drama, the scandal, the petty maneuverings. Back home, we engage in social affairs with the grim intensity of war. When blood is spilled, the battle is won. Less fun when you're the target, but to watch. My, yes. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
You said Alexius was a mentor of yours.
He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. I had a lot of successes, naturally. Alexius was most pleased. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real change in the Imperium. And then he gave up. He stopped trying.
Why did he give up?
On a journey to Hossberg, a Darkspawn raid killed his wife and sickened his son. I remember hearing the news. He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced he could have protected them. The guilt tore him up. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we drifted apart.
That must have been difficult.
Back then, I was furious. I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must have priorities.
I don't think that's it. You felt guilty because you couldn't help him.
Clever you. I had a choice, you see. Wallow in self-pity or get away while I could. At any rate, he's dead now. More's the pity.
I should go.
You know where I'll be. I heard a little rumor about you.
Is that so?
Indeed. Someone's been doing some training. As an assassin, no less.
The skills involved are rather handy.
I should say, with the amount of killing you do, a bit of flair's a fine thing.
I don't kill that many people.
Are you joking? I'm only surprised you didn't kill someone walking over here. At any rate, if you ever intend to make it an actual profession, do tell me. The Antivan Crows have nothing on the Imperium. I know people. Keep it in mind.
I should go.
You know where I'll be. What's on your mind?
I should go.
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. There is, after all, no shortage of vultures circling the Sunburst throne.
Is becoming divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it.
And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Thedas. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems. A message from Divine Justinia.
That's a shock. You're all right reading it?
Thank you for the concern, Inquisitor. But I am. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
Do you know what you're looking for?
The Divine was a powerful woman who used her position to obtain all sorts of things. Whatever she hid in Valence would very likely benefit the Inquisition and must be kept from falling into the wrong hands. If I'm lucky, she will have instructions for me.
You take your instructions from me. What sort of help can a dead divine give you?
I don't know. Perhaps something to do with the Chantry. Or it could be personal. She guided me for many years, Inquisitor, as a divine and as a friend. There are days when I still look to her for advice, only to remember that I am alone.
Why hide things in Valence? What's so special about it?
Justinia was revered mother at the Chantry there for many years before she became the Divine. It is a place that holds great meaning for her.
I'll help in whatever way I can.
Wonderful. I was hoping you would agree to come with me to Valence. One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the Chantry in Valence. Try not to delay. Did you need something?
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
What do you know of Morrigan?
I first met her when we were traveling with the hero of Ferelden. We never really got along. Morrigan can be a powerful ally. Just never forget that she's here because she wants something. Work with her, learn from her, trust her if you must, but never underestimate her.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am. Did you need something? Once that is done...
Single targets. Then crowd.
From Haven's fire come we, the able to there is an issue that you should address. I think it's worth your time, Inquisitor.
My dear, I'm afraid I must ask you for help. There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the Civil War.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it.
They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
I didn't know you were an alchemist, Vivienne. What exactly is this project you're working on?
It is a special request from a member of the Council of Heralds. I am still the Imperial Court Enchanter, after all. The matter is private. That is all there is to say.
You want me to risk my life to get this thing for you, but won't tell me what it's for.
My dear, it is hardly proper for me to blab the secrets of those who put trust in my discretion. I would do no less for you, after all.
I'm not a hunter. Why do you think I can help?
This beast is not hunted for sport, as other wyverns sometimes are. It is far more deadly. In the past, chevaliers have been dispatched to either kill the creatures or drive them away from villages. Since my chevaliers have fallen to political conflict, I find myself in need of someone with a martial aptitude.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success. I always have time for you, my dear. Whatever would you like to know? I was sent to the Ostwicks when the position of marriage is the business of in such troubled times as these.
Inquisitor? My Lord Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions, the De Winter.
Has Dorian done something wrong?
No, thankfully. It's nothing like that. I have been in contact with his family. House Pavas, out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
He's mentioned his family. They don't appear to be on good terms.
Yes. I believe you're correct. The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
Are you sure this isn't some kind of trap? I mean, the secrecy.
That did occur to me. What if it is a plot of those mages, the Venatori? Another reason to put this in your hands, Inquisitor. I pray that isn't the case. But if it is, You are far better equipped than I to respond to such treachery.
Just what kind of meeting do they have in mind?
I believe they just want to talk, to understand why Dorian felt he had to come here. Somewhere private, away from Skyhold, but not in Tevinter. You make them nervous, I think. They don't understand why he's here with the Inquisition. They want him to come home.
What happens if Dorian doesn't agree?
Hopefully that will be the end of it. If not, well, that's why you should be there.
Why would his family contact you?
Because they don't know you, Inquisitor. I am not of the Imperial Chantry, but they know what I represent. These are parents concerned about the welfare of their son. How could I not do whatever possible? I would speak to the young man myself, but he does not care for me. Thus I come to you. If any good can come of this, we must try.
They don't want Dorian to know? That seems odd.
They believe the young man would refuse, and the letter implies he'd have cause. Yet, they are remorseful for whatever came before. This is a chance for dialogue. There is deceit in bringing the young man to this meeting without his foreknowledge, I know. But does it not lead to a greater kindness if there is potential for reconciliation?
If you think I'm going to trick Dorian into meeting his family...
I feared you might say that. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I pray you change your mind, Inquisitor. Perhaps their letter will persuade you. If there is any chance of success in this, it behooves us to act. My Lord Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions. I have been in contact with his... Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man...
I'll see what I can do.
Bless you, Inquisitor. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I pray you change your mind, Inquisitor. Perhaps their letter will persuade you. If there is any chance of success in this, it behooves us to act.
How bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was unmasked, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
You don't see the Empress of Orlais almost killed in cold blood every day.
Not so brazenly, no. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
The Empress realized she was in danger.
She's always in danger. Those loyal to her should have practiced more vigilance. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
Insular cliques, snide half-truths, everyone sizing up everyone else. They reminded me of home.
I completely understand the feeling, Inquisitor. Let's hope the next ball either of our families holds is quieter than this one, shall we? I was hoping you'd be by. We've received letters from Archon Redanus of Tevinter and King Marcus of Nevala. For both monarchs to come to us is nearly unheard of.
Then the Inquisition's deeds have won their respect.
They'd never have contacted us otherwise.
Archon Redanus requests that the Inquisition, as a neutral party, destroy a venatory cult on the Nevaran-Tevinter border. King Marcus asks the same, but demands we pledge allegiance to Nevara instead of Tevinter.
What course of action would you take if you were in my place?
Strained as their relationship with Orlais is, I would assist the Imperium. Their friendship is difficult to win, and Marcus is a fading power. Tevinter is the longer, richer gain.
What sort of man is the King of Navarra?
At this point, elderly. Many fear his health will soon fail him. Still, he is a Pentagast. Their dynasty is exceptionally strong in Navarra.
I actually have relatives in Navarra. If you reason with the Archon, Trevelyan's can persuade King Marcus we should help both countries.
Letting the Inquisition curry favor with both Tevinter and Navarra. Most ideal. It's good to see you.
What do the people make of us?
There's scarcely a noble house that hasn't openly pledged its support to us.
Let's speak later.
Another time. A pleasure.
It's time to plan our next attack. What's the state of the Inquisition?
Our alliance with Orlais holds. For the present. They'll send aid on request.
And your actions at Adamant denied Corypheus his army of pet demons. With Orlais' support, our numbers match his. Corypheus' followers must be panicking.
My agents agree. Our victories have shaken his disciples.
Perhaps they'll rethink following the Darkspawn Magister from the dawn of time. Where is Corypheus now?
After you dealt with the Duchess, Corypheus uprooted his major strongholds. He's moving south to the Arbor Wilds. His army clearly wasn't prepared to flee. Our victories have them on the defensive.
They've terrorized Thetis long enough. We end them now. If Corypheus is hiding in the Arbor Wilds, that's where we'll go.
But what is Corypheus doing in such a remote area?
His people have been ransacking elven ruins since Haven. We believe he seeks more. What he hopes to find, however, continues to elude us.
Which should surprise no one. Fortunately, I can assist.
You have my attention, Lady Morrigan.
What Corypheus seeks in those Forgotten Woods is as ancient as it is dangerous.
Which is?
'Tis best if I show you. This is an Illuvian, an elven artifact from a time long before their empire was lost to human greed. I restored this one at great cost, but another lies within the Arbor Wilds. That is what Corypheus seeks.
You can restore an artifact like this?
There was a price, but one I gladly paid. I found legends of an elven temple within the Arbor Wilds. Untouched. It proved too dangerous to approach, and thus I turned elsewhere to find my prize. If Corypheus has turned southward, he could succeed where I failed. The Illuvian would be his.
What does it do?
A more appropriate question would be, where does it lead? If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Illuvians join, wherever they might be.
This place is extraordinary. How could this even exist?
Who can say? Formed from the fabric of time and space, perhaps. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
How did you find out about this place?
My travels have led me to many strange destinations, Inquisitor. Once, they led me here. It offered sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one. I can describe it no better. For a time, I was safe from those who hunted me, but only for a time. One cannot remain in between forever.
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the Illuvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
I suppose you have such a key?
The key can be many things. Each Illuvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough.
Corypheus wants to come here?
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corypheus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Illuvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corypheus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon. Greetings, Inquisitor.
You seem to know a great deal about elven lore.
The Dalish are not the only ones interested in the distant past, Inquisitor. Indeed, my skills allow me access to places the Dalish dare not even dream of. The ancient elves hold secrets they have not yet given up. Secrets about the foundation of Thedas itself. Thus, they are my focus. Corypheus clearly feels the same.
I leave you to the garden.
Until next time, then.